everyone, Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters, and thank you for joining me for a Confessions of a Paper Addict design team layout. So I'm just showing you how I have backed the gorgeous rainbow background cut file. So as you can see, I've backed the suns in foam. They're a glittery foam. And then I cut that same foam into little teeny tiny strips, and I just backed a few of the bits and pieces around the clouds to keep those up off the page so that this is all going to be the same dimension when I need to adhere it to the paper. I've also made each of the three rainbows into little shaker pockets. So I've adhered some old packaging, actually, some plastic from packaging from, I think it's literally from the plastic that my Kaisercraft foam tape comes inside of, and I've just cut that down to the rainbow size and adhered that directly to the cut file. And then in between the plastic, I have put a layer, so the plastic is glued directly to the cut file, and then I've put a layer of foam all the way around the edge of the rainbow, making sure the whole entire edge of the rainbow is sealed in so that none of the sequins can get out when they are shook. Then, once I have filled up each of the little rainbows with some sequins, and as you can see, I'm using a whole rainbow of sequins. I did about 3 of each colour in the tiny one, 5 of each colour in the next one, and 10 of each colour in the largest one, just to have a nice array or variation of the different colours, and to make sure there's enough to fill it up so that you can see them with everything else that's going to be going on the front of the page. So once I've done that, I'm not actually going to back the rainbows. I'm going to stick it directly to my 12 by 12 paper. So I've already added double-sided tape to everywhere that's yellow, and now I'm just putting on my 12 by 12 paper and just making sure that's really adhered down. So I'm just pushing everywhere all over the double-sided page just to make sure all of that double-sided tape has adhered. So now I'm coming back in and I have got my little shaker pockets there. Some of the rainbow sequins are sticking to the double-sided tape, but that's okay. Most of them are shaking. I've put out some thread because I'm going to use some thread as well. I was umming and ahhing about whether to colour match, but I've decided I'm not going to colour match. I'm going to put the different colours in all different spots around the page. And as you can see, I've also already adhered my title. This title needed just a little bit of doctoring, and the chipboard needed to be glued down. So I've gone ahead and done that off camera. So now I'm going to start working on my clusters, and I'm going to put a little bit of thread in between or behind each of my little clusters. So these little stickers are from the Jen Hatfield, I think it's maybe the Hey Hello sticker sheet, perhaps. Definitely something from Jen Hatfield. There is my photo, and there is a cut apart as well. So I'm just going to pop those two there, and I'm going to adhere them straight to my cut file because, as I mentioned earlier, my cut file is already popped up on foam, so there's already a little bit of dimension happening on the page. So just using some straight double-sided tape, and I'll just pop those back down on my page. Now once those are secured and in place, then I can start working on the clusters that are going to go around the photo and the cut apart sheet. So I'm basically imagining that the cut apart sheet is another photograph. So this is essentially having a 2-page photograph, 2-page layout. Oh my goodness, words, Jessica. A 2-photo layout. Because even though that absolutely isn't a photo, it says words, it is the same size and it is something else that catches your eye, and I've angled them together as if you would 2 photos. So in my brain, I'm imagining my clusters working in a little set of 3 around these 2 3x4 cards. So I'm going to put thread as a little, almost like a base to each one of the clusters, but I'm not, as I said earlier, I'm not going to color match. I'm just going to put any old colour, almost the opposite, around in the different spaces. So I just popped a little bit of that coral thread underneath this one with a floral piece, and then there's going to be a little bicycle sticker. And the reason for the bicycle sticker is because this photo is sort of celebrating the sun, of course, and that it's a nice sunny day, but it's also reminding me that while we were on lockdown, for every day of the week, I was getting outside and doing something. I might have gone for a walk by myself, I might have gone for a run by myself, or I may have even packed up the boys in the back of the bike and gone on a bike ride with the boys. So that's why there's a bicycle that I am adding onto this one. And I do include that information in my journaling. So once that's all down, I'm going to work on my next little cluster. So I've got a little bit of purple thread that I'm going to pop up next to the cloud and underneath the corner of that text card. And I've just adhered that with a little bit of glue because, of course, I am also going to put the stickers on top. And this time I'm including some sunglasses and almost like a little basket or handbag full of bits and bobs that a lady might take if she was heading out somewhere. Now, that's not specifically relevant to this layout, but there's not very many layouts I do that are girly and that use the girly ephemera. So I'm going to chuck it on while I've got the chance. A layout about me. Unheard of. So I've actually been doing a couple at the moment because I'm also back scrapping, and I'm scrapping from 2014, and we didn't have any kids in 2014, so there is hundreds of photos of me. It's like so bizarre to be scrapping so many photos of me. I can get all of my girly stuff out all of a sudden and scrap those instead of boys, because there are certainly, I've got one boy sitting right next to me right now, and there are certainly lots of boys in this house. Again, the coffee cups are not really relevant at all, but they were cute and I wanted to put them on the page because I liked them. Now, some of you might be thinking, what a waste of that beautiful shaker pocket that I've pretty much completely covered. That's okay. There is still sort of pops of the sequin colour, and you get the sort of general gist of the idea sticking out from behind all of the bits and pieces that are included in that section. So I don't mind. I'm going to put on just a couple of enamel dots, really not that many. If I had some more of the teeny tiny ones, I would have done 2, but I don't have enough of the little teeny tiny ones in the various colours. So I'm just going to put a medium-sized one in each of my little clusters and leave that be. And then I think I'm just about done. Oh no, I remember. I'm going to tear up the side of the page. Now, I haven't really done this before, and I'm doing it in 2 separate ways. So this way I've just come straight in with my scissors and started tearing and ripping and dirtying it up over on the side there. And that works, that's fine. But the second way I do it, I actually prefer that more. So this way I've just sort of come on in and hacked at the page with the scissors. And as you can see, I'm just going to back that little hole with some white paper to tie in with the white crispness of the cut file. I just felt like this page needed something else, but I didn't want to do a doodle border and I didn't want to do an actual full white edge border. So I'm just going to do this little torn edge, and I'm just going to stick a little bit of paper in behind. But the second way I make this torn edge, which I will obviously show you in just a sec, I actually prefer, and I will remember this for the next time I do it. So this time I'm actually going to cut a little, almost like a semicircle or a little dip out of my page. And then I'm going to rough up just that edge. So you can see now that I'm just cutting this little dip out of my page. And then I'm just using my scissors to scratch. And that's just going to mess up the dip. And that's a little bit of a neater way for me to do it. I ended up without having as much sort of tearing happening and just getting that nice distress edge to it. So that was much better for me, and that's how, if I do this technique again, I will do that in the future. I just pulled this paper out of my scrap bin. It was literally on the floor, on the rubbish bin, in the rubbish bin. And then once I'd adhered it, I realised that there was writing on the back. But oh well, no big deal. It's only numbers. It didn't really mean anything. And once it's in my page protector, no one will even notice. So here are some close-ups. I hope you have enjoyed this process and watching the way that I went about making this layout. Gave you a few different ideas of how to use this cut file, backing with foam, creating shaker pockets, adding some string or some thread for texture. There's quite a lot of little things going on to make up this whole. So I hope you have enjoyed it. Make sure you check the description box for any links or things you might need from COAPA. Thanks everyone.